Hey everyone, this is Duran with Florida Investor Deals. We're live here with our coaching call this week. Hey Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good, I'm good. So today we're talking about wholesaling. That's what we talk every week. And we're going to take some questions here about wholesaling. I know we had a couple of people that wanted to call to the show. So if you guys want to call, our phone number is 904-770-3195. I'm going to take some calls. I'm going to answer questions, and going to help you close your deals in the next 15 to 30 days. So Mike, how was your week? Tell us what's going on with your acquisitions.
Yeah, so it's been great. I think one of the big things I learned this week is the importance of, I guess, staying in the negotiation when it gets tense and not giving up. So the one thing I really noticed that has been working is asking for in different ways, like 5 different ways when they give you a number to, I guess, give you a lower price. So, for example, I noticed that if you say, "Hey, what's the lowest that you need to feel comfortable?" They might give you a number, but then you got to say, "Hey, is that your absolute rock bottom?" They'll give you another number. And then
Yeah.
you have to just keep going and saying it in a bunch of different ways until it's like totally milked out.
Right.
Because I noticed that you never know how much room a seller has until you do that.
Yeah, exactly. And when you ask them what's your price or how much you're looking for, they're probably going to say what's your offer, and you're going to go back and say that question in a different way to get their price, and then you're going to ask them, is that your lowest price? Is that your best price? And I mean, it might sound stupid or it might sound like not real, but it is. Once you ask them, is that your real price? That's your lowest price. They're going to come back and say, well, I might take this or I might take that. And that's a real strategy of taking better properties, better prices, better deals. So
Yeah, exactly. I was talking with one seller and he was like, "Oh, 170, that's my absolute bottom line." But then I just asked it again and he went on like a tangent for like 2 minutes. And then the last sentence that comes to his mouth is, "Okay, the rock bottom that I'll do is 155." That's it.
yeah, I know. And also, I mean, those prices might not be so good for you, might not
Yeah.
work for you. So, I mean, even if you call them back or follow up with them and say, hey, we talked about buying your property. Well, what's the best price right now? And second call might be even a better price, you know?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, I mean, always look at the numbers, always make sure they work for you, because as a wholesale deal, remember, you gotta sell it to somebody that's either gonna flip the property, so put a lot of work into it, or use it as a rental, buy and hold, or use it as a short-term rentals, Airbnb. So those numbers change. Even if you are buying it yourself, the numbers can change. But always have, as much as possible, exit strategies.
Exactly.
Because
So
the
you're
numbers
it,
change.
Yeah, it seems like you're a big fan of, even when there is a lot of profit margin already, you're a big fan of getting even more margin by getting the seller down as much as possible, even when there is margin. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah, getting them as low as possible, because then you have the most options when you come to sell it. If they are very close to the ARV, the after repair value of the property, it's going to be hard to wholesale it. You might be able to buy it and hold it. You might be able to do a innovation deal on it, but to wholesale it, it's going to be hard to wholesale it if you close to the ARV. So, yeah.
Yes, exactly. All right.
So, what other questions you had today, Mike? What
Yeah. So
you had problems this week?
sure. I had a very interesting question, one about sellers, and that
Okay.
was, how do you kind of make sure that you don't get ghosted by a seller and make sure that a contract actually gets signed? What's the best way
Yeah.
to do that?
Yeah, it's a real struggle. I know, because people, you're going to talk to them on the phone and they're going to give you a price, and you're going to go back to your numbers, check it, and tell them I'll call you back in 5 minutes, and they won't answer. So the best way that I found is to keep them on the phone. And 1 second, we have a number here. We have a call.
Oh, we have a caller.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how are you? We're live here on the show. Who do I have the pleasure to speak with?
My name is Joe, and I just have a question I would like to ask you guys today.
Yeah, sure. Hey, Joe. What's up? What can we help you with?
All right, so it's a very basic sales tactic kind of question. Just to get right into it, my question is, what are your guys' negotiation tactics when it comes to dealing with a seller that is, rather firm on a price that is a little outside of the range in which you would like to settle on, and you would like to kind of, get them down a little bit?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. That's negotiation. We were just talking about it. So if they're very firm on the price, what you can do is show them the comps, show them what houses are selling, and basically show them what those houses were, what the condition was. So if those houses were fully renovated or they were in much better condition, you can start deducting the price. So saying their kitchen needs updating. So now you're going to deduct that $15,000 from the price. The house needs roof, you're going to deduct that. So all those items, you deduct them. And then you tell them, well, that's how we came up to our offer. So what is your lowest price you can take? And then they're going to say again a different price, and you're going to keep on doing that until they get to your price.
So essentially, you go down a checklist that has factual, punctual information, and you essentially go down that checklist and eventually get to a lower and lower price,
Exactly.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. You tell them,
Right.
well, you're going to need to fix your roof. You're going to need to fix your bathrooms. You're going to need to fix your kitchen. So all those stuff costs a lot of money. And and you ask the seller, do you have that money to put into your property to sell it on the MLS? And most of the time they don't have that money. So they'll say,
Right.
okay, well, what's the best you can do? I want to sell it right away. And then you tell them, well, based on everything you told me, that's the best offer I can give you right now and close fast. So that's how you close
Right.
the deal.
And this is information that is, readily available, and it makes sense, and it's true. There is no sugarcoating. It's genuinely to the point, but your explanation of it is in itself is a tactic to
Right.
get to the better sale price.
Right, exactly. I mean, all the information,
Right.
let's say you look at recent sales and you put it in Zillow, you put the address on Zillow, and you see recent sales very close to the house that you're talking with the owner, and you see the house, what was the house sold for, what was the condition, you see all that stuff, and then you show the seller, you tell them, well, listen, your house is on 12th Street, the one on 11th Street sold for this much, but it was fully renovated and this and that. So how did you came up with that price?
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
that's
Thank you so much. I was very curious.
yeah, and you can also ask them for pictures. Can you send me pictures so I can see what's your condition look like? I don't like to use the pictures strategy because sometimes they'll ghost you. They won't call you back. They won't send you the pictures. So I really want to close on the first call or the second call. So if I have to, I'll ask them for pictures. But if I don't, then I want to close the deal right there and then.
Right. It's just another thing that could potentially make or break, the whole interaction.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Very interesting.
Yeah. All right.
I will definitely consider utilizing that in the property. I thank you and I appreciate you answering my call.
All right. Thanks so much, Joe. We'll be in touch. Have a great day and good
All right.
luck.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, so that was Joe, and he had a question about the negotiations. What are you doing, Mike, when people telling you like a high price? How you negotiate them down?
Oh, well, when somebody tells me a high price, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, well, and I would like your opinion on this. This is just what I do. But let's say a property is, let's say, $100,000 over market value, and the person is just insane. They're asking for a very high price. I'll go, well, the first thing I see here is when I look at Zillow, it's at this price they have it at, and where did you get your price?
Right.
That's what I'll ask them. What do you think about that?
Exactly. And they're like, well, my neighbor sold it for this much. But well, your neighbor house is double the size as yours. So it's so funny. People come up with crazy prices. Sometimes their house is on the market for one price, and you call them, they'll say a completely different price.
Exactly. Do you think that any of those claims that people make are valid? Like, which claims are valid that those people make? Like that, oh, my neighbor's house sold for this much. So, like, where does it correlate?
Well, it's stuff that people hear, and once you hear stuff, it's like half true, half false, and you never know, and they change it. So it's like I heard my neighbor sold their house for this much, and you're trying to find this thing over on Zillow. It's like where did you say this thing? It doesn't really apply. You tell them no, that never happened. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
But the main thing is actually talking to them about their pain. You can talk about price all day with the seller, but they might not agree to it. But if you start talking to them about pain, why are they selling, and what's the reason for them to sell, and why they're not putting it on the MLS with a realtor, they'll start peeling off the pain. And talking about pain points is one of the most important things, because you talk to them about the pain, you make them feel about the pain, they'll start sweating and thinking, oh my God, I gotta get rid of this house. It's insane. And they'll come out with a better price.
Yeah, and that actually bridges me into my next question that I had, which is basically, a lot of sellers say that price is the only thing that matters, and it's kind of like hard to get through that smoke screen sometimes, and you really start to believe them. Okay, price is the only thing that matters for this person. But what would you say are some other things besides price, and the fact that you're covering all of the closing costs, surveys, inspections, all of that stuff? Like, what are some other deep down things that really matter for getting a seller to choose you over even an investor that offered more than you did?
So sellers, the main thing about us people, we want to communicate, and we like to communicate with people that understand us, people that we can relate to and we can trust. So once you talk to a seller and they're like, I want this much and I'm not gonna go down, so you can ask them why. Let's say it's 200,000. Why 200? What is so important with that number? And they'll say, well, because of this, because I have bills, because I have a loan that I need to. And then you start uncovering more needs, so uncovering more pains. So the main thing is the price, but then you start peeling off more layers, like, okay, so what kind of debt is it? When do you need to pay that? Do you have other stuff that you can sell, or you have to say you have to pay it, stuff like that. And they'll start talking. Once they start talking and you listen to them, they're gonna like you more. And you tell them, I completely understand, I had the same situation here and there, and you start telling them stories about other sellers in other houses. And now this seller wanted to sell his house, and we gave them an offer, but they didn't take it, and they end up selling it to someone else at a much lower price. So I mean, sometimes the price is not that important, but you got to listen to them.
Yeah, it sounds like you're saying to get all of the pain and take notes of everything that they really say, and then at the end of the call, or when you call them back for negotiation, to stack all of that on top of each other in order to craft an offer that is specifically for that seller.
Exactly. So you can go back, and let's say you offer them 120 and they wanted 200, which is like a big gap. But you can tell them, remember how you told me that you gotta pay this much until the 10th of the month, and now it's 10 more days or 15 more days. Remember how you told me that you have to pay that debt? How are you going to pay that? So I'm giving you that offer. We can close in 15 days. Let's do it. What do you say? So you come back to those pain and you make them feel it. And I'm not saying that you're going to give them a bad price. At the end of the day, everybody needs to win, right? Everybody, the seller needs to take good amount of money. You need to take good amount of money. Your profit needs to be enough. So you want to make sure they get what they need, but you also get what you need.
Exactly. And it seems like for some people, because like in this industry, obviously there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, you're lowballing people," but it seems like a lot of times for the right seller, it's actually a massive win what is going on in this
Exactly.
industry. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Because the seller will not be able to sell their property to someone else, or on the MLS, or to a realtor, or to, and a lot of people, they're going to say the neighbor wants to buy it. Okay, do they have the money? Can they close in 10 days, 15 days? Can they actually do what they're saying? Because a lot of times I was talking to sellers and they'll say, well, the neighbor wants to buy it. And 2 weeks later, I'll call them, what's going on? And then like, oh, they didn't have money. They didn't qualify for the loan. And I'm like, okay, so now you're ready. We could have done it 2 weeks before. So
Yeah, exactly. And then in regards to that like period, how do you kind of seem like you're gonna back off? Like, do you have a strategy for like seeming like you're gonna back off? Like this person's gonna lose the offer and they have to take it as soon as possible, or else you're gone.
well, I'm not gonna back off. I mean,
Yeah.
if they are interested in selling and I'm there right there talking to them, I'm gonna make them understand that this is the best option for them right now to take the offer. Because if they're not gonna take the offer, I'm gonna go buy another house. And I have limited amount of money that I have to buy houses right now. And if I don't buy their house, I'm just gonna have another call right now and I'm gonna buy another house.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you got to put some time limit into it, because a lot of times people sending a contract over the email, and that's another point I wanted to talk about. They send a contract over the email and 2 days later they don't hear anything. The seller is ghosting them and they're like, what happened? And then a week, 2 weeks later, they'll call the seller. The seller will finally answer and they say, oh no, we took another offer. So you don't send an offer on an email and just wait for it to come back signed. You got to be with them on the phone, make sure they open the email, make sure they open the DocuSign, and they go over all the contract with you. And if they have a question, they ask it right there. Because
Yes.
a lot of the times they'll read the contract and there's like one line that they don't understand, they'll just close it and you won't hear from them again.
And that one line just messes up the entire thing and they don't even sign it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's such a small thing, but it's such a big thing to go over the contract with the seller, make sure they understand everything, and make sure they agree with everything. And
Yeah.
if they
So
don't, you can change it. Right
exactly.
there, you change the contract for them.
Yeah.
You tell them, I'm doing it for you. I don't do it usually, but I'll do it for you to customize it for you right now.
And how do you kind of go about getting them to feel the need to be on the phone with you while they are signing the contract? Because a lot of people will just think, oh, I'm just going to read it over. I don't need you right now. Like, how do you
Right.
get them to feel like they need you on the call?
You just tell them, that's our company policy, because we had a lot of times that people didn't understand something and we couldn't get them on the phone back, and that was a big loss for everybody. And believe me and trust me, after all this time that we've been through on the phone, I want to go over it with you. I'm going to explain everything to you. You're going to feel like you know everything and now you're ready to sign. Believe me.
Exactly. So it seems like building that trust on a call is really important so that you can get them to trust you in taking them through the contract.
Yeah,
And they will
exactly.
trust your judgment when you're reading the contract to them.
Yeah. And if they have a wife or a husband or a brother or a partner, it's good to have all of them on the same call with you to go over the contract, because a lot of the times you're going to send the contract to that person you talk to and their partner read it and they don't like it and it's done. And then you have to go back to square one to talk to that person that didn't agree. So
Exactly.
if they have a partner, husband, wife, brother, whatever, get them on the phone with you just to make sure they understand the contract and they agree to everything you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if we don't have any more questions, I guess we're done for today.
I guess so.
Yeah. All right. So that was great. We're going to be here next Thursday after the holiday. And if you guys have any questions, you can comment. We're going to keep helping you guys closing more deals. We want you to close as much as possible, as fast as possible. And we're here to help you. So thank you so much. Thanks, Mike. And I'll see you next week.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye.